Hey everyone, at first I was willing to give a bit of a window to Donald Trump and think that maybe he wasn't serious about having someone, a white nationalist like Steve Bannon, so close to his side, right in his ear, right at power. But particularly after reading Ryan Liz's very detailed account in the New Yorker, which is produced on October 16th of this year, I can't do that. I cannot give Donald Trump any quarter whatsoever. Liza really lays out how Bannon actually went and courted Donald Trump early on because of all the Republican, truly conservative candidates. Here you had Donald Trump singing a populist tune, which really addressed the problems of the white rural working class that were completely being missed by the rest of the Republican Party. Begin to sound familiar, right? This happened a year ago, okay? Just over a year ago, actually early 2015. And during that time, Steve Bannon said to another associate not at Breitbart, but within the Republican Party, hey, with Breitbart, hey, let's interview Donald Trump. And the guy says, Trump, no way, he's a clown. But Bannon stuck to his guns and cozied up to Trump. And at that time, Trump was looking for someone to take him seriously, and he found the sympathetic ear in Steve Bannon, who was the executive editor of Breitbart after the untimely death of Andrew Breitbart in 2012 from a heart attack. But Bannon, whereas, Andrew Breitbart, I've always thought was an interesting person, great entrepreneur, a person you could actually approach, talk to. He was he was definitely a firebrand, okay? But he wasn't an unreasonable guy who was a white nationalist. I would think of Andrew Breitbart in a number of ways, but white nationalism never, ever came up in my mind. But Steve Bannon's completely different, and he took Breitbart in an entirely different direction so that they begin to appeal not just to American white nationalists, but also European white nationalists. That's right, European white nationalists, and in Eastern Europe as well. So you've got a person who's driving an international cause that reaches to France and Le Pen and other parts in the United Kingdom, all with the idea of advancing essentially white supremacy. He doesn't put it that way, but white nationalism is another way of saying white supremacy straight out. It's a European, Anglo-centric approach that basically is the cause of a new term called ethno-nationalism. But think about it. Ethno-nationalism, white nationalism, that basically means white supremacy, that basically means the Klan, that basically means hatred for other races and also for persons like those who would be Jewish. And for us to get to this point and not be concerned about it as a group of people, regardless of party, is massively distressing, because in our lives, people like that have always been on the fringe. People who didn't have much of a thought of anything other than their own narrow interests. They were lucky to, if they had money, they were lucky to get it from their parents or something like that. And they were just insufferable because they believed they were better than other people because of the color of their skin and all this jazz that, when I think about it, reminds me of the fact that racism is a mental illness. Steve Bannon got lucky. He bought into Seinfeld, and he still gets royalty payments from the television show even to this day. Okay, fine. He got lucky. But that money is fueling this really evil intent this Jabba the Hutt looking guy has. And he does, look like Jabba the Hutt. The point is that in any number of ways, this kind of person is completely undesirable in the White House and is dangerous, absolutely dangerous for the United States and United States interests. We should not be placed in a position where we have a person, let alone people in the White House, who dislike someone like myself or a woman because they are black or Asian or Latino, and that person thinks, well, okay, I'm only going to advance the cause of someone who's white because they're white. And that's absolutely ridiculous. It's not the way to go. Now, some people out there might say, well, didn't Obama do that with respect to somebody black? And the answer is no. In fact, no one in their right mind does that at all. No one in their right mind, okay, does that. It's not even for conversation. There's no comparison whatsoever. And if there is, then you're talking about somebody who's on the fringe, who is some sort of nutty black separatist, or that I don't want to deal with either. Now you see my point, right? When I put it that way, you don't want people like that running the White House. You want the middle. You want people who are used to being around other people who don't look like them, who are intelligent, who understand American culture, who want to do the right things for people, and who are not trying to demonize people. Donald Trump has in Steve Bannon a person who is not any of those at all. And therefore, he should not be in Donald Trump's cabinet.